Stanley Yen dikenal sebagai tokoh paling berpengaruh di Asia pada tahun 2021. Beliau adalah seorang filantropis yang memiliki dampak besar dalam industri pariwisata dan disebut sebagai Godfather of Hospitality and Tourism. Ia juga menulis buku The Future of Tourism in Taiwan yang telah memenangkan penghargaan. Selain karir yang cemerlang di industri perhotelan dan pariwisata, Stanley Yen memiliki perhatian besar terhadap kesejahteraan dan pembangunan berkelanjutan, serta aktif di dunia pendidikan melalui Alliance Culture Foundation. Ia melakukan reformasi pendidikan dengan membangun sekolah, serta mendukung pembangunan ekonomi berkelanjutan di daerah terpencil di wilayah timur Taiwan.
Hi, I am Stanley Yen. I'm so happy to be here today because to meet so many beautiful people is to my surprise. Please keep up the good work. I'll come back and visit you again. Thank you.
尊敬的严长寿董事长，各位校董，还有各位贵宾，早上好。请允许我用印尼语跟学生交流，比较顺口一点啊，谢谢。Selamat pagi, yang terhormat Mr. Stanley Yen, Bapak Ibu para guru yang pengurus dan sekolah Pahoa, dan serta para murid sekolah Pahoa yang saya banggakan. Senang sekali dan adalah sebuah kehormatan bagi sekolah Pahoa. Pada hari ini kita dapat mendengar sharing dari Mr. Stanley Yen. Saya kira kesempatan ini sangat langka dan kita patut sangat bersyukur. Beliau bersedia membagi pengalaman dan wisdom ini. Tentunya akan menjadi inspirasi bagi kita semua, terutama bagi para murid Pahoa, sebagai bekal untuk menjalani kehidupan di masa depan. Beliau ini adalah sosok yang sangat luar biasa, dan kita perlu belajar dari pengalaman, semangat, motivasi, bahkan kebajikan yang telah beliau lakukan selama ini. Mr. Stanley Yen ini memulai karirnya di American Express dari seorang messenger. Tapi dengan kerajinan dan ketekunannya, serta kemauan kuat untuk otodidak, sehingga dalam kurun waktu 5 tahun, beliau dapat menjadi seorang general manager karena mampu merubah perusahaan hingga mendapat keuntungan. Akhirnya beliau di usia 32 tahun dapat meraih posisi menjadi CEO dari grup hotel Yadu Landis dan mengambil alih manajemen hotel Ritz Taipei. Beliau juga sangat aktif mempromosikan budaya dan seni Taiwan serta mengembangkan program dan lembaga kuliner yang didedikasikan untuk pengembang chef dan profesional di bidang perhotelan. Beliau juga menjadi legenda, figur dan opinion leaders yang dihormati, sehingga media menyebutnya sebagai Godfather of Hotel dan Godfather of Tourism. Beliau juga sangat peduli terhadap dunia pendidikan. Beliau meyakini bahwa perubahan berkelanjutan adalah dimulai dari pendidikan. Beliau mendiri di Alliance Culture Foundation untuk melakukan reformasi pendidikan di komunitas terpencil di daerah Hualien dan Taitung di Taiwan Timur. Mr. Yen sering berbagi pengalaman hidupnya dan memberikan motivasi melalui ceramah-ceramah kepada generasi muda. Konsep be an angel to yourself and others, saya rasa adalah sebuah tema yang sangat cocok untuk kita pelajari. Dengan konsep ini, kita akan belajar dari Mr. Stanley Yen bahwa setiap orang memiliki rasa tanggung jawab dan kemampuan untuk menyentuh hati orang lain. Ia mendorong semua orang untuk menemukan keunggulan dalam dirinya sendiri. Tidak semua orang cocok menjadi pemimpin atau ahli, tetapi semua orang dapat unggul di bidang mereka masing-masing. Tentu semua yang akan disampaikan Mr. Yen ini berguna dan sejalan dengan visi dan misi Pahoa, yakni mempersiapkan para peserta didik yang unggul, cerdas, kritis, namun juga berbudi pekerti dan berakhlak mulia. Sehingga para peserta didik mampu mengamalkan keterampilannya dan keunggulannya bagi kepentingan masyarakat. Jadi mari kita semua menyimak sesi ini dengan sungguh-sungguh. 在此感恩严长寿董事长给我们这么好的机会，让巴华学生能够启蒙他们的未来，受益良多。再一次感谢。Terima kasih。
感谢李丽英女士的致辞，正式地拉开本次活动的序幕。
Before moving on, we of course need to know the amazing individual behind today's event. Let's take a quick look at his profile. Mr. Stanley Yen was born in Shanghai in 1947. He was once a messenger for American Express Taiwan in 1971, and then later became a general manager in 1975. Then he became the CEO of Landis Hospitality Group from 1979 until 2009. Then he became the founder and chairperson of the Alliance Cultural Foundation, also known as the ACF, from 2009 until the present. And currently, he is the chairperson of Junyi School of Innovation. He is known as the godfather of tourism in Taiwan and recognized as Asia's most influential figure in 2021. Now that we have seen the amazing and incredible journey from Mr. Stanley Yen, today we are very grateful to be able to meet and learn so many new things from one of the most prominent figures in the educational world, Mr. Stanley Yen. Without further ado, let's together learn valuable insights from Mr. Yen. Mr. Yen, the stage is yours. Let's all give a big round of applause for Mr. Stanley Yen.
Honorable board members of Pahoa, distinguished guests, and all the students, good morning to you. What a wonderful occasion for me. I have never expected I will be here in front of you until just few weeks ago. I was kindly invited by Ms. Lee, Madame Lee, to give some talk. Let me first ask, is that okay I speak English? Is that okay? Okay, so I will continue with my English, but please excuse me in case my English does not do very well. As you probably know, I started off my career as a messenger of American Express. I never been to university. You're facing someone who is self-educated himself during the different situation. 1971 is a time where Taiwan lose its seat at the United Nations. And because we have lost that seat, a lot of people actually immigrate to America or other countries. And I was probably because in one way it is a challenge for Taiwan, but it is also again an opportunity for somebody like me, because all the outstanding people left the country. And that is why I got a platform to do something different. As a messenger, I find myself a passion. That passion suddenly becomes the most important drive to make me what I am today. You know, as a messenger, usually it's a very easy job. I'm asked, when office is open 9 o'clock, I have to go there at 8 o'clock in the morning. And when everybody left, I have to clean the office, I have to do the basic works. Every day, one very easy, simple job is every day I'm asked to go to the post office 4 times a day. I was wondering why I need to go to post office 4 times a day. Because usually the postman will come every day anyway, once. But then I realized American Express is the world at that time single largest traveler check, credit card, travel services in the world. They have 800 offices around the world. So what they're doing is, because during the 1970s, the communication is very difficult. So that's why if you want to communicate with people, the only way is sending by mail. Unless something particularly important, if somebody, family member is ill or something critical, usually you don't send telegraph because telegraph is very expensive. So that is why American Express created a new idea, because American Express at that time was the largest credit card company, largest traveler's check holders. They print traveler's check so much, they actually invented that concept. And then you see why a company like this was originally built in 1850, and they become so successful even a few hundred years later. And one of the reasons for that is because they continuously innovate themselves and continually facing the challenge and making change. And that is the first thing I have learned. But then when I realized why I need to go to the post office 4 times a day, and suddenly I realized in the office we have a counter. The counter called customer mail service. Customer mail service means whoever who have American Express travel check, credit card, or you are travel customer or banking account members, you will be able to use American Express 800 offices as a mailing address. So at that time for you, if you travel to Tokyo, you just write Tokyo American Express. The mail will go to American Express. In the post office, they have a mailbox. And at the same time, Taiwan have the same thing. So my job is I have to go there maybe 8:30 in the morning to pick up the mail from the mailbox. And then maybe in the lunchtime, I have to do another time. In the afternoon, I have to do another time. And before the office closes, I have to do one more time. The only reason is because they're providing a unique service for their customer. When they travel to anywhere, they'll be able to have people sending mail. But if they come to the office, you never know when they are coming. So that's why I have to go frequently to the post office, because the post office, whenever there is a mail arrives, they will automatically send into the post box. So I have to pick up a key and bring them back. So when I come back with usually a whole deck of mail, and I always see somebody waiting in our office lobby, sitting there waiting for me. Once I arrive, everybody stand up. I'm sure they are not because they're trying to distribute to me. They are more interested if their mail is in the deck of mail. So anyway, we have divided an alphabetically A, B, C, D, and anybody present their credit card and present their name, passport, then we'll give them the mail. But always one thing happened. I found, wow, you are doing something with a meaning, because there are people traveling far away and anxious to waiting for the mail. But I see there is one meaning. It's every time until Friday, some people come back 3-4 times to the office. They did not receive the mail. But Friday, they're getting very nervous. They say, Stanley, they started calling me very friendly. They said, Stanley, can you do me a favor? I said, what? He said, tomorrow is a holiday. But I think my mail is inside. I have some important document. I'm waiting for it. But can you tomorrow come to the post, go to the post office and pick up and try if my mail is inside? And maybe Sunday I have to leave. But if I mail that document, I'll travel to another country now. It will be too late. Then I say, wow, I'm actually important. Friends, in one way, you think messenger is a very low position. I was the only person without university degree. But on the other hand, during the weekend, I suddenly find there is a need, opportunity, I can provide service to the international customers. I do not have a girlfriend at the time, so every weekend I end up go and pick up the mail for people. And I does not charge company for overtime. I will use my motorbike, go and pick up the mail, and when I receive his mail, I was as happy as he is. So I will call his hotel and say, hey, I received your mail, but don't come to the office. I will deliver the mail to your hotel. Suddenly people feel, God, your service is so good. Without asking anybody give me recommendations, and some of them even because they have to go to Hong Kong next day or go to Singapore, the mail didn't arrive. I said, sorry, I couldn't, there is no mail for you. He said, Stanley, can you do me a favor? If you receive the mail, can you transfer the mail to Hong Kong office, American Express, or transfer to Tokyo American Express? He said, I will be very much appreciated. And how about I give you some money in case my mail arrives? I said, I cannot take your money because without knowing the mail will arrive or not, the only way, I said, don't worry about it. If I receive it, I will send it for you. And usually, without surprise, in the weekend when I pick up the mail have arrived. And I couldn't ask the office. I did not know the process. So I have to reach out my pocket. At that time, every month, I earn only $50 a month. And out of $50, as a tradition of my family, 50% go to my mother because I have to live and eat food there. Most important is supporting the family. So I have only $25. But then I will reach out my pocket and buy post stamp and send the mail for the customer to Tokyo or Hong Kong, whichever he asked for. You know, without asking any expense, sometimes I receive them sending me a mail. Say, thank you so much, Stanley, you did a great job. I feel my reward is not from this letter of appreciation. My reward is, I think I'm doing something good for the company. I'm doing something good for the country. People will think, people from Taiwan is so friendly, so willing to help. That is my first encouragement, and finding myself have that very strong passion and wanted to do something good and serving the customer. One day, accidentally, my English general manager go to my desk and tap me on the shoulder and said, Stanley, I heard you are sending mail for customer. I thought I had done something wrong. I said, how do you know? Because I never tell anybody. He said, yes, look at this. So they are customer writing mail. Instead of they write appreciation letter to me, they write letter to my boss and say, your office have a staff doing such a remarkable job. He's doing something any customer can expect, more than what you can expect. He is even using his own money, sending mail for me, and I want you to recognize this stuff. So since then, that general manager don't even know me because I was a messenger. But then he went to the personnel affairs, say, next time if company is looking for new staff, we usually on the newspaper saying, we are looking, American Express is looking a new staff job, and your minimum requirement is university graduate. He said, next time, show it to me first. I think Stanley's passion and his working ethic is qualified enough for him not even have university degree. And since then, I become airport representative. Then I start learning my English. And then later on, from airport representative, I move up to general affairs. And our office is doing renovation, buying new equipment. I've gone through many, many different challenges. For example, when I was doing the general affairs, the company had to import a lot of machines, office machine, IBM computers, the calculator. At that time, the calculator was very expensive. The IBM computer is very expensive, like a $2,000 US a piece. Using the board was very fashioned. So when I was a general manager, so I was in charge of general affairs, and I was negotiating with the supplier, and the supplier, they have to order from abroad, and it will take a little time before they deliver. But one day, before everything was delivered, there was a August Moon Festival coming up. So before he come and say hello to me, he said, no, the machine will be arriving next few weeks or something. And then before he leaves, say, hey, the festival is coming. He gave me an envelope, a white envelope. I do not know what it is inside. He said, no, this is just a small token to show my appreciation. Then before he leave, I realized there was some cash. I just ran out to him and said, no, I cannot receive. He said, no, he ran away. Then I just sent this envelope to my general manager. I said, I don't know what happened. I saw we have already negotiated the price, but now he gave me this envelope. And the envelope is like 8,000, which is equivalent like 4 times of my salary. But I said, I don't know what to do with it. The general manager said, okay, leave it to me. And then next time when he delivered the products, and some product was not in the best condition as we expected. You know, in Chinese we say it's a 水货. It is second-used machine. Very often they import it from Hong Kong, actually used, but they clean up a little bit and they come in without properly sealed. So I say to the owner, this is no good. You have to send this back and give me a new one. I want to see a brand new one. And he was very upset. Then you know the rumor passed around and go out to say American Express have one staff. He's asking troubles. He giving me a lot of trouble, even despite I gave him briberies. And this message certainly go to my general manager. My general manager heard about it, he had a big laugh. He said, no, the money is in my drawer. Okay, this is going to be the next time staff welfare activities, because the money is already negotiated, but we're going to just use this for everybody. So since then, I suddenly realized this is the very first message I want to give every one of you. Before you go to anywhere outside, you start your career, always remember, be honest to yourself. Because integrity will build up your future. Every step of your professional job, the most dangerous one is you suddenly been attempted with a small interest. Luckily, I went through that past. My general manager started trusting me more. He further promoted me, and I become a sales manager. No, sales representative. And as a sales representative, and that was 1973, the company received instructions saying, American Express is the general agent for the Hanover. You know, Germany, there is a city called Hanover. International Machine Tools Exhibition. We are the general agent. In another word, anyone from the world, if they want to join this event, which is the single largest machinery exhibitions, they say you have to register it through American Express in each country, because we have many offices. So my general manager said, Stanley, you go and approach the the Machinery Association and ask if they have anybody wants to join in. I said, okay. Then I went to the association, I talked to the Secretary General, I said, no, we are the representative of the single largest global machine exhibitions, so I will invite you guys to join. And he answered to me, said, no, we have no interest. I said, why? He said, we speak Japanese. We are just occupied by Japan before. And we all speak Japanese. And Japanese is doing very well. Anything we can learn, we just go to Japan and learn. There's no need for us to go to Europe. So I said, but I think this is a good opportunity. He said, it's okay. Japanese is learning something, we can learn from them. So I went back very disappointed. I report to my general manager, say, boss, they say they are not interested about, because they think they could learn something in Japan. Then my boss just said, well, it's okay, Stanley. That means the market in Taiwan is not ready. The people's vision is not prepared. But then they say, I'll close the file, I'll report the office, Taiwan is not ready. Okay, end of the case, don't worry about it. But even he say it's okay, it did not okay for me. That evening I couldn't sleep. I do not understand why Taiwanese is so short-sighted. When you have an opportunity to learn something great, but you just isolate yourself. So then, after a few days, I called the Secretary General and said, hey, when is your board meeting? He said, next week. Why? I said, I think I'm going to have some message to talk to them. He said, we have no interest to go. But I said, this is something very important for the company and for your association, and also it's very important for the country. He said, no, I'm not sure if they really want to listen to you. I said, please, give me an opportunity, even for 3 minutes. Then I went to the office. He said, if you want to come, you come and wait outside. And when they finish the meeting, I will ask them if they want to see you. If they want to see you, I will let you come in. If they don't want to see you, then you are just wasting your time. I said, okay. So I was waiting outside. They are in the board meeting for almost 2 hours. And when it's finished, the Secretary General opened the door, a small space, say, hey, Stanley, they want to listen to you, but don't talk too long. I give you only 3 to 5 minutes because they want to have dinner very soon. So I went in. Without being able to, having such a limited time, I just go very straight. I was just 26 years old. I say, all the senior friends, I want to ask you one thing. You learn everything from Japan, right? He said, yes. Say, may I say the machinery, Japan is your teacher? Yes, you can say that. I said, where Japanese learn from? Oh, Germany, of course, Germany is the world's most advanced country. I said, may I say, the Germany, machinery-wise, they are the teacher for Japanese. He said, yes, you may say that. But I said, now I don't understand, dear board member. This is the first time ever I'm inviting you to go to your teacher's place to see something even newer, and you tell me you don't want to go. They said, no, we don't understand English. I said, but it's okay. If you have more than 16 people, I will convince our company, send someone who can speak English and be your translator. But I then further asked her, have you ever been to Europe? No, none of them. I said, do you know Paris? Do you know Italy? Do you know London? Oh, yes, nice place. What about you bring your wife? And let's take a trip for the business, but at the same time, you could see Europe. Suddenly, they seem to change their mind. Then he says, you go home. We will talk about it. So I went back. I said, well, Taiwanese is so short-sighted. I was a little disappointed. But 1 week later, the Secretary called me back, said, Stanley, you are remarkable. We have 23 people registered. That was 1973 in October. And before that, when I heard the news, I talked to my general manager, hey, I said, now good news. That was in the summertime when I approached them. I said, now we have 23 people sign up. I said, but boss, I promised them if they have more than 16 people, because every airline, if you have 16 people, they will send you a free ticket. I said, we have to send somebody over. Oh, he said, really? He looked around the office staff. He said, I don't think anybody is ready. None of them been to Europe, all the Chinese staff. Then he looked at me. He said, Stanley, if you manage to convince them to go to Europe, then why don't you take them around? I said, boss, I never been to Europe. He said, don't worry, never been, neither do them. So don't worry, I'll teach you how to be a tour escort. And 1973 is my first time, out of my passion, out of my seeing to bring the Taiwanese vision far, I also bring up my visions far. That was the first time ever I get to travel to Europe. We visited like a 13 country. And when we went to the Hanover, the machine tour, the exhibition, all these members said, Stanley, I'm glad I'm here. I did not realize that global technology is moving so ahead. So I give you the second message, dear student, to have a vision, see beyond yourself, to look at something that you may not experience, but be able to take up the challenge and see far is my second message to you. So this is why I become one of the first person ever bring a whole group of people travel all over Europe. So I become an expert. And since then, almost when we go to America, go to any country, I was a leader, bringing different tour groups, different people. And certainly my knowledge, it was like my university. Until one time I find American Express for continuously, almost on its 5th years, our president say, it's already changed 2 general managers, 1 British and then 1 American. He said, if you cannot still make money after 5 years, I'm going to close down Taipei office. And because of that threat, I realized we don't have much time left. So I talked to my general manager, say, we have to change our policy. We cannot do what head office is doing. Because the market is immature, we have to have a new approach to the market. We have to give up our retail business. We have to become wholesaler. We have to use all the travel agent, all the bank become our associate instead of being a competitor to them. And we should publicly announce we will not competing your customer. We will become the wholesaler. And you bank selling our traveler's check or credit card, or you travel agent selling our product, but we will not compete with you. So in another word, it's a big turnaround because traditionally American Express, it was so big, they would do retail and wholesale at the same time. Then the general manager was reluctant to make a change. At the same time, other people were trying to solicit me because I was doing relatively a good job. And at that time, there is an airline called TWA. And they invited me to join them. They doubled my salary. They offered me a car. At that time, I was riding a motorbike. They gave me a lot of good deal. I want me to go to their office, take care of their operation. I almost got convinced. Then next morning, I wake up, I said, no, this company has building me until what I am today. I was a messenger, and now I am like an assistant general manager in charge of the entire sales department. So I asked the general manager, say, can you invite me for lunch? Let's go to lunch to the American Club. Then I talked to him. I say, I almost want to turn in my resignation today to you. But when I thought it over last night, I decided not to. Only in one condition. If you will allow me change the whole structure of the company. Only in one condition. I do not ask you to raise my salary. I do not ask you to give me a promotion. But just give me an opportunity to see if I can save the company in its very last critical period. And he have no choice. I said, give me, at that time, 300,000. It's like a 10 million US. No, 10,000 US. And like give me 2 temporary staff. And then I started to turn the entire business. I gave up. You have to give something in order to gain something. So I gave up the business and officially announced now we are the wholesale. We do not approach your customer, and you come and become our partner. And since then, the company moved so fast. To make a long story short, in the 9th month, we start to make money. By end of the year, the company said, hey, ask the gentleman, how come originally you say you will lose money, the budget, you are losing money for like a 50,000 US, and now you're making another 50,000. What happened? So general manager was very honest to say, because we have a staff, Stanley Yen, who have a new concept. And this concept is working well. He said, and at the same time, the company said, no, we need to localize all the company in Asia. But right now, every general manager from whether it's Hong Kong, whether Singapore, whether it's Japan, it's all sending from America or from UK. He said, we want to find one country, one hotel, one office, we can convert a local people become general manager. Then my general manager said, no, Stanley will be the right person. But at that time, Singapore and Hong Kong was a candidate considered localized. But my general manager heartily promoted me. He said, Stanley is the best candidate I can find. So finally, to my surprise, they approached me saying, no, we're going to promote you as a general manager. We're going to transfer your general manager to Hong Kong, become the Hong Kong general manager for Hong Kong. To make a long story short, it was like a dream. At the age of 28, approaching 29, I become general manager of American Express. I thought, my God, how am I going to deal with such an international company? And then I realized I already finished my university degree in the company. But when I become the general manager, I realized as a general manager, I've been able to looking at a company from a global point of view, how a multinational company, they manage themselves. So I want to encourage everybody to have a vision to see far. American Express, at that time as a general manager, every month you are required to do budget. But the budget usually is far behind because it's last September you're doing the budget, which could be because of the war, because of the pandemic, everything was changed. But surprisingly, they have a new policy. Every general manager have to do a 13-month projection. In another word, every month you have to adjust your budget for 13 months. Right now it's October. You have to project from November, December, all the way to next year, November. How do you see the new change? Maybe because of the war, maybe because of the economy downturns, or maybe because pandemic, whatever reason might be. So a global company, he requires every general manager to do the same thing. You have to every month move forward another 13 months to see the future. So your prediction will be adjusted from your original budget. And the company will put all this information into computer and knowing whether or not company is facing any challenge. And then he could make an overall change. That was something first I learned. To see far, not only looking at something in front of you, but to be able to see the customer from Japan to Germany is another purpose of being able to see far. So I want every student, before you graduate, learn to have a vision. A lot of parents, when they talk about education, they all looking at when they're driving a car, like they're driving a car, they're looking at the back mirror to see the pathway they've gone through. I'm a doctor, so you have to be a doctor. I'm learning this law, and you have to be a lawyer. But they do not realize is looking at the back of the mirror does not bring you to the future. The future changes so fast. Let me ask you one question. Any one of you have used ChatGPT before? Raise your hand. I bet more than these numbers. Chat becomes so convenient. Maybe even teacher don't want you to do it. But everybody uses chat. I use chat. But even for different reasons. But please bear with me. You know, the time have changed. I'm now officially announced to you that technology is going so fast. Anybody heard about AlphaGo? Few years ago, AlphaGo have competing with the most advanced chess player, and AlphaGo 0 beat him. It was a surprise. A machine beat the most intelligent people. But do you know now today, AlphaGo 2 competing with AlphaGo 0. These two machines competing to each other. They play 1,000 games. The result is 1,000 to 0. In other words, the machine used to beat human being lost 1,000 times. You can see over the years, the self-learning, machine learning, is become so effective. In other words, they're going so fast before you can reach out. So people have to, first you have to understand, do not try to compete with a machine. You have to learn how to use a machine. In another word, in one way, everybody scales so much. There is a gentleman called Mo Gadat. He was Google asks, have you heard about Google? Yes? Have you heard about Google, Mo Gadat? He was originally Egyptian. Then he joined Google, and finally he became the Google X 𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿 is a company keep moving forward. He was the CEO of 𝐿𝐿𝐿. He was so successful. He said, at the time I have 16 cars. Do you need 16 cars? You don't. Just he have too much money, doesn't know where to spend. He has 16 cars. But in 2017, he resigned from the job. Actually, he was also the one competing with Chad about what you have learned today. But they are very reluctant to release to the public because they know it is very dangerous. Because they only give you one answer, right or wrong. So they were struggling themselves. The reason why he resigned is not because of technology. Was because his son, Ali, at the age of 21, he suddenly have a small operation need to take care of. So he was saying goodbye to his son, went into the hospital operation room. He said, we'll see you in 1 hour. And his son never got back. His son died out of 5 steps of mistakes. He was crying, he was so angry. He said, how can it possible? I have all the money I want, and I couldn't buy back my son's life. So since then, he quit from the job. He said, money do not bring me the happiness. Where can I see the happiness? He started to search for happiness. He had all the money. He suddenly decided to buy 12 shirts, same color. He doesn't want all this fancy. He sold all his car. He's trying to go to the monasteries. He shaved off his hair and trying to find where is the happiness. If it's not from outside, what inside can you gain to gain the happiness? And then one day, he wrote a book. He said, I could not just be so depressed. My son was such a happy boy. He was backpackers, he traveling with people, he making a lot of friends. Me, poor dad, was making money and trying to make them happy, but actually I myself does not have happiness. So then he said, okay, I'm going to write a book. So he said, Serve for Happy. And that book is published to many languages, and he gave in speech to a lot of people to say the real happiness is coming from inside of yourself. I'll give you one example. If you have a very expensive car, they say, if my wife is using my car, sub 9,000, best expensive car, and suddenly was hit by a truck, face to face, and the car was smashed to like a junk. My wife was saved. I was so happy. Despite the car is totally destroyed, but my wife is alive. He was so happy. But he said, if in another circumstance, that sub 9,000 was the best car I treasure very much, I put on the roadside, and truck accidentally hit the car and smashed the car, I could be very upset. How can it possible they destroy my most important toy? So you understand what is a happiness and what is way of values of your life. So in other words, the same incident, same accident, it could turn you to a happiness or come to a total disappointment. And this is why he's trying to explain to people, you have to search for happiness yourself, inner side of yourself. So students, always remember, you have to always have a positive and passive behaviors of yourself. And sometimes not even anybody can help you but yourself. So that's why in my book of being the angel for you, to yourself and others, to yourself is you have to have ability. I use a word called self-healing. Without other people's help, internally you will adjust your sadness and overcome the disappointment. And sometimes every failure could be next step to success. Or maybe many failure until you reach the success, if you are a scientist. most of the time you failed. Because scientists, you continuously, it's not just one job and one work you can be successful. You have to face thousands and thousands of failure until you become successful. You have to have that personality to be able to face this kind of challenge. Okay, so that is, again, my third message to you is know yourself. Do you know yourself? If you are a positive person with a full of passion, you can be like me. Whether it's hospitality, whether it's going to communicate with people, whether you're trying to influence the government policy, then you are always do not afraid of challenge and you're willing to go forward. But if you are someone very much focused, if that's your personality, then always remember, you need to have a very positive attitude to facing the challenge, really become successful. Now I'm going to tell you the education needs to be changed. More than ever, the whole world is everybody go back to square one. Traditionally in your school, the training is understand, memorize, and examination. That's the first 3 steps. You continuously understand, learn from teacher, and memorize them, and go to examination. Dear friend, it's not happening anymore. Can you compete with chat? Google will give you better answer. Chat will give you better answer than yourself. So the real most important, the future, whether it's teacher, whether it's student, whether it's board member, always remember, future education go into, before you learn, you have to teach the student what is the purpose of learning and how to making use of your knowledge. So use your knowledge, whether it's from chat, whether it's from Google, you have to be able to make judgment, right or wrong. That is the most important. Making use of it is more important than only understand. And fourthly, is how to be creative. Go beyond. So that is very important. So the message I gave you is, you have to move forward from understand, memorize, examination, to be able to practically know how to use them, and most important, to be able to create, your creativity become important. This is why I said education needs to be changed. But young people do not usually understand, even your teacher. You know why? Because the whole world is following all footsteps. All the teacher, most of the teacher, please pardon me teacher, in your life you never left school. You study from school, then you are going to teach at the school. You've never been able to go outside enough to see what happened in the world. In the future, the time have changed. I have a good friend. I have many good friends in Harvard, Stanford. They are all very qualified professors. Harvard in 2015 make an announcement. So in 2025, which is 2 years from now, they will allow their students to leave school 3 times. In other words, the student does not have to continuously study for 4 years. The first subject, if you pick up electronic or computer science, you can finish your term within 6 months up to 18 months. When you finish, you can get out of the school and go out and work and find out what's the real world, practically know how to use your knowledge. And then after a year or 2, and you say, no, I want to come back. Come back, you don't have to go to the electronic technology or whatever, the computer science. You can choose, say, no, I know the computer science, but I saw my personality, I'm more suitable to be the salesperson for computer equipment. So I can go to the marketing department to learn marketing. Or another person say, no, I want to learn more about the art. Then I can go to the liberal art, I can go to the art school to study. Again, you have 6 months up to 18 months to finish that course, and you can leave again. Go and use your twice message and go out and learn. And then when you learn after a while, you are allowed to come back again. You can choose go back to computer science. You can go back to the sales and marketing, further enhance yourself. Or you say, no, I want to be a manager. I want to learn how to manage a computer company. I want to be the personnel head to communicate with people. So this is why out of 4 years of graduations, you actually been able to stretch up to 6 years to finish your university degree, but you got 3 opportunities to go out, come back, go out and come back. Tell me, if you are a student, would that be a great idea to verify what you have learned? You finish your high school, you go out and do some intern. First grade, you go out and get some intern. Second grade, you go out and get some intern. You got 3 opportunities to really discover yourself. So know yourself is very important. Know your personality and knowing your ability, your strengths, and also know where is your weakness. Okay, this is the fourth message I'm giving out, fourth message I'm giving you. But I want to say is, for the general analyzations, the whole world, probably only 30% of the people is being able to study, memorize, and go through examination. 70% of the people, they have to be hands-on. They have to be learned by working. So most of the teachers belong to the 30% of the pouch. And all of you certainly belong to many different personalities. So expect the teacher, the 30% of the teacher, to know what 70% of the people need is the first thing the teacher have to learn. And first teacher have to learn what is happening outside of the world. So this is why I want everybody, including teacher, to understand why it is important get yourself not only vertical side, but horizontally learn more message about the future. That is the only way you can compete with the machine. The machine is only one way. You feed them, you unplug them, they become cold. They have no touch. They have no feeling. So I give you 3 most important messages for the future to learn. This is what I announced at my school. I don't know if you have some film of my students. Okay. Number 1, be a good human being. Being a good global citizen. Being a good citizen of yourself and good student. So your personal behaviors is important. Not only you try to memorize things, you have to learn how to communicate with people. You also always know the 4 C, collaboration, communication, critical thinking, creativity. Yes, everything you have to learn. It's not examination only trying for you to beat other people, to make yourself outstanding. But collaborate with people, communicate with people, and the critical thinking without influence by people is something you never will learn from the teacher's teaching or memorizations. So this is very important. And also your behaviors. We are in a world today, you have the election, right? Every now and then. Politician is worst of its kind. They're always trying to please their people's interest. But they are not looking at the global-wise, the future of the country. So they are very short-sighted. But who votes them? You and I vote them. So that is why everybody have to understand. You have to be able to manage your democracy procedures, your right to vote. So this is why to be a good citizen, you are accountable. If you elect somebody, he did not do what what he promised to do. You are the one supposed to write him a letter saying, hey, listen, you are not doing something I want you to do. I'm going to vote you down next time. So this is the only thing you can make politicians behave themselves. But yourself have to looking at what? You have to looking at this world is not flat. This world is not free. Because there are people very poor, there are people very rich. And how we can justify this society? If you do not take care of the poor, one day they're going to backfire on you. Because they also vote people. So this is why to be a good citizen is so important. You have compassion to people. You have to realize all these physically to learn what is happening to the poor society. Go to the remote areas. Go to see what you can help them, what you can learn from them. How can you change their lifestyle? And how can you one day become part of you? That is important. First message I give to you. This is what I taught in my school. Secondly, what machine to learn is not learn how to enjoy the life. Machine, whatever you feed them, it's like you're training a pet. If you train a dog, if he done something wrong, you just pat him. If he do something right, you give him a food. Then he is encouraged to be your pet. But do you know, in the military, the dog is used to attack people. So he will give instruction to attack people. So when you see ChatGPT is so accessible, that is means behind the scene, what you can see, there are many countries, every country is trying to train the computer, artificial intelligence, to attack people, to give the fake message to people, to try to change the opinion of people. So this is why you have to have ability to make judgment. So this is so important. That is, before I leave this subject. Number two, enjoy your life. The life means, for me, it's dance, it's music, it's drama, it's sports, it's literatures, it's green energies. I was visiting your preschool Yuan. I was very impressed. Okay, because in my school, every student have to learn green energy. Can you imagine Indonesia have 10,000 islands? If somebody live on the island without depending on public infrastructure, you have green energy, and they can be successful. You have solar panel, you have windmill, and you can also you have some heat, can build up the energies. So this is why young people, you have to learn from the futures. So that's why I ask my students, do not only try to memorize. I want you to take the time, go out. When you climb the mountain, the science teacher will go with you. When you try to do the sailboat, the mathematics teacher will try to go with you. People will take you all kinds of knowledge through sport, activity, drama. Imagine if you play drama, you're talking about food design, you're talking about decoration, you're talking about all kinds of activity. You're talking about collaboration to help people, not trying to beat your friend to make sure your schoolmate is being able to achieve the same challenge as you are. So this is why I say it is important. Knowledge today have changed. Today, you know, everybody know Khan Academy. Everybody know Khan Academy? If you don't know, please do. It's English. Any subject you can learn from the computer. Okay. Then second thing is university. Stanford, Professor Ng and Dr. Kola have invented a new idea almost 10 years ago called Coursera. Even you don't have to go to America, you will be able to learn the best university what they are teaching. Harvard's program, Udacity, edX, Coursera, is accessible for you only if you open your computer, especially for high school students. If you study at home, you still get the same knowledge. I am learning now. I wasn't a good student before, but I am learning all these informations. And then the latest information Have anyone heard about Minerva? Those who heard about Minerva, please raise your hand. Anybody heard about Minerva? No, huh? Minerva has been published for a few years now. Minerva have a statement called a university without campus. Student, why? Tell me why university without campus? Minerva, I was the one promoted in Taiwan. I introduced to the Ministry of Education. I said, hey, listen, this is something Taiwan needs the most. You know, Minerva, the first 6 months, tuition, they want you to spend your tuition when you travel. So the first 6 months, they send you to San Francisco, they give you some training, and then everything is taught online. So then the second 6 months, you go to Argentina, South America. And then another 6 months, you go to London. Then another 6 months, you go to Berlin. Then another 6 months, you go to the Istanbul. Another 6 months, you go to India. The final 6 months, you go to Korea. Then the last 6 months, you go back to America. In another word, in 4 years of study, you'll be traveling to 6 to 7 countries. Then I said, wow, what a great opportunity. I started to promote this in the college, in Taiwan's all society. Nobody seems to listen to me until the leader of the Minerva Asia Pacific come to Taidong, which is a remote area of my school. He said, Mr. Yen, thank you so much. You are the only one promote the Minerva concept. Does everybody what is the meaning of Minerva? Minerva is an out on type of Athens. That was the ancient story. Minerva only flies middle at the night with a sharp eyes, be able to see from the darkness. In another word, what he tried to say is, in the future, you're not only be able to see things from daytime, more importantly, when everything is dark, you can still see something better than other animal. So Minerva, finally, it's been run through quite a few years now. Because Istanbul was not stable, 4 years ago, they decided to move to Taiwan. Now Minerva, every year, every 6 months, they have 100 students come to Taiwan. And we have some students go into Minerva too. So I want you to know something you know or you don't know, but please do learn something about it. Not everybody can do it. You have to learn independently. Because when you are studying, you can be climbing a mountain halfway, you can stop and continue your class. You can go and explore this country, different culture and variety. Imagine if you work for Apple, you tell your boss, interview you, say, I have visited 7 countries throughout the world. Is this an advantage for you? Yeah, this is why you'll be able to see so many things. So this is why my message to all of you is to be able to see, not only see far, to be able to even see further than other people can see. Now I'm going to share with one little story with you. One great master, he's a writer from Korea, he wrote a book. And he said, no, I want to go to, I would like to find out what is the true happiness. It's like a Mongadat. He was looking for happiness. Then he went to India. India is so poor, worse for so poor. Even now it's getting better. But he said, how come in such a poor environment, he saw the monks would sit underneath of the tree for a whole day, and eat very little and with very peaceful mind. He saw the master, he said, well, master, I want to be your disciple. Can you taught me about how I can find happiness? And then the master said, no, I don't receive disciples. He said, please, I'm from Korea all the way here. I want to learn something. He said, okay, if you want, go to mountain with me. So he went up to the mountain. He climbed like more than 40 minutes to get up to the mountain. So since that day, that evening, he sleep with his master with two separate beds, but the master don't meditate anymore. The master say, no, you are here, you bother me. You go on and build your own house. You should pick up the stone and build your own house. Then he said, okay, he was chasing out. Next day, he started to build his own house. He picked up the stone, build the house, build a wall. And then he just finished one wall, and the master come in and say, with a bucket, say, go down the hill to pick up some water. We need it. So he went downstairs for 40 minutes, and he come back for 40 minutes. When he come back, the wall he built fall down again. He said, what's happened? He didn't realize. And next day, he said, I want to get up early and do something faster. Then he started to build a house tool. And before he finished, his master bring the water. Then go and bring some water. He go down, and he come back. The whole building collapsed again. Jesus, nobody here. Is that my teacher doing that? He was very upset. And he said, okay, tomorrow I will get up even earlier. He's trying to build. Then he built up almost 3 walls. And the master comes in and go down and pick up the water. Without surprise, the house fall down again. Until then, he was so upset. He just hit the water bucket to the floor. He said, no, I don't think I can learn from this guy. He just went down. He left. But he stayed waiting for the bus. You know, in India, the bus is very slow. So when the bus arrived, they had to wait for half an hour. He was inside of the bus. As he was watching, hey, there's an old guy coming down from the hill. Oh, when he's come closer, he says, that's my master. So the master go to the bus and hit the window, say, hey, open the window. And he opened, unwillingly opened the window. He said, I saw you want to be my disciple. How can you leave me? And he said, no, I don't think I can learn anything from you. You taught me nothing. Young man, you have no patience. But since we've been around for a few days, let me give you 3 most important messages for your life. Number 1, in your future, you may have to compromise a lot of things, but do not compromise yourself. Student, remember, do not compromise yourself. You have to have a principle. You have to have something that you believe, and you will stay firmly in this position. That has been my peer throughout my life. Secondly, there is no forever happiness. There is no forever suffer as well. So most of the happiness or suffer come and go before you realize. So do not expect when you are successful, that will be forever. Or there will be suffer, that will be forever. So there is no forever happiness and there is no forever suffering. So number 3, always willing to help people. And his last quotation is important. As if there is no God. Usually we like to trade with God. God, if I do something good, please let me, my family is safe and peace. Okay. God, if I do something, please help me to go through this difficult time. So no, if there is, yes, there is God. Believe or not believe. But even without God, you still want to help people. That is the most important message I give to you. So dear students, always remember, only have compassion, willing to help people. 𝐀𝐽, during his time, I listened to a lot of his speech through YouTube. By the way, I told you the YouTube original founder next week is going to see me. He was in Taiwan. But I want to say is, 𝐀𝐽, they ask him, with the computer is moving so far ahead, how we human beings should do in the future. He have 4 points. He said, number 1, everyone need to jump into AI. Everybody have to learn about AI. All or new, teacher or student. because AI is so challenging and so fast. AI is going to 1 million times smarter than human because they're learning so fast. Machine self-learning so fast. I give you one example. I talked to medical. I belong to a hospital's board members. One of the very outstanding doctor, he said, every year, every day, throughout the world, whether it's from any medical institution or it's from the from university, there is a lot of new journey or new paper announced. Each day, there are average about 6,000 papers. As for me, hardly I can finish one. For machine, every day they can digest 6,000 and divide it into different categories. Imagine every day he is learning so fast, a human can never compete with them. So understand, you have to jump into AI. And second thing is people have to learn how to communicate, connect people, because machine cannot connect people. So machine, when you switch it down, it's cold. Your computer switch it down, you have no motions, no emotions, no feelings. But people can. So you have to learn how to compete by climbing, drama, any activities. Number 3, resilience. Most of the message I have taught you already. Take up the challenge, and if you lose job, don't disappoint it and look for another job. If you find something you don't know, learn something new. So you have to continuously learn something new in order to keep up with the change. So resilience is human nature in the future. You have to continuously face. Number 4, interesting message. Your passion must not die before you die. Do you understand? A lot of people, this is not a new message. Benjamin Franklin, the founder of America, once he said, many people die at the age of 25 and got buried at the age of 75. Today, some of you, if you do not have heart, if you do not have compassion, you are always controlled by computers, information right or wrong, or shows, or whatever it is. You are controlled by the machine. You basically died. And you got buried not 75, you may got buried at the age of 105. So you're going to have a lot of boring life if you do not find some music, dance, life, drama, sports, everything. So Franklin says, do not let your passion die. It's the same message. The last word I'm going to give it to you. Everybody heard about Martin Luther King. Martin Luther was assassinated. Before he died, he had a very famous quotation. He said, even I know, despite the human being is so stupid. In the First World War, during the war, suddenly the Spanish flu break out. So the flu, because of war, is spread all over the world, kills tens of millions of people. Today, after so many years, human beings are making same mistake. Pandemic kills so many people, and suddenly the war between Ukraine and Russia started. And today, the Egyptians and Palestine start war again. So people are so, and despite the fact the global warming is getting closer and closer, some of your islands may disappear one day. Jakarta may be disappointed one day. I know there's Jakarta, you want to move to a new city, because you know there is a problem. So Martin Luther King have one message very important for you. This will be end of my quotation. Is even I know tomorrow the world is going to falling apart, today I will still plant a tree for future. Do not expect this world to be perfect. But as long as you have that passion, I may not be able to know what tomorrow looks like. But today, I want to do something meaningful to make change for the society. Dear young friends, I am 76 years old. My passions still have not died. If I did not die, you better don't. Thank you.
That was a very insightful session from Mr. Stanley Yen. Wouldn't you agree, Sally?
没错，严董事长的分享非常深入人心。
Now, I'm sure all the students present here must have lots of questions to ask Mr. Stanley Yen. If you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand and you can ask in either English or Indonesian and we will help you translate.
相信大家听完后，心中定有想提出的问题。如果大家有任何问题，欢迎举手用英语或者印尼语来提问，我们会给你翻译。
One session will consist of 2 to 3 questions, so now feel free to ask. Raise your hand if you have any questions. Any question? There's one question over there. For those of you who will later ask questions, please don't forget to state your name and your class as well.
Hello. Good afternoon, Mr. Yen. It's an honor to ask this question to you. I would like to ask, have you ever had a phase in your career or life where you lacked motivation? And can you give us advice on how, if we have a lack of motivation, how can we persevere and get motivation again?
Mr. Yen, have you ever had a phase in your life where you lack motivation? And what do you do when you are lacking that motivation?
You know, Chinese, there is a saying called 屡败屡战. Every time you fail, you will rise up and fight again. Throughout my life, there's no shortage of fail. But most important is you always have courage. I've written more than 10 books in my life. Every different period of time, I try to change the government's opinion. I try to tell people, no, you shouldn't do this, you should do that. What the future I can foresee. And in 2011, I wrote a book say education should be different. In my quotation, I say, wake up parents. You are the one going to destroy the potential talent of your child. Because you're looking at the back mirror. I mentioned, say, education is not pouring water into bucket. It is lighting a fire. Lighting a fire and pouring water into bucket is force feeding. So I always suggest, throughout my life, I have no shortage. When I see the democracy went wrong, I wrote a book called You Can Be Different. I say, wake up. We are the one responsible for the politicians. But if we don't fully supervise them properly, if we do not have a proper education base to see what is the fairness of the society, then we are accountable for the fall of the country as well. So throughout my life, I try to convince the society, convince the country. I went to presidential office, I went to all general public. Until one day I realized not going to change. That was the age of 60, so I decided to say, no, I'm going to go to East Coast. I want to do something to make a real change. So my quotation is, Never challenge the existing reality. If you want to change something, build a new model to make the existing model obsolete. When I see education is going to a wrong track, I build a school. I try to use different methods to educate my students. And now I have already 6 years of graduates. I send them, some of them abroad. Some are in Norway, some are in Canada, some are in America. Some of them are very poor families. They are indigenous families, they are very poor. I give them 100% tuition free. I let them stay in the hotel, in the school. And for continuously 6 years before they go abroad. So this is a way, when you're facing challenge, you always will find a way to encourage yourself to move further up. And this is the way. Actually, I have written some books. I have brought back maybe 7 of my books. I will donate to the school in your library. Unfortunately, it's all in Chinese. But if you're interested to reading them, your library will be available, I hope. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yen, for that answer. Hopefully that answers your question. Moving on to the next question. There.
Hello, it's a great honor to be able to ask this question. My name is Laurentia and I'm from 12 Social 1. I wanted to ask from your perspective, what can we young people do to improve ourselves, to be helpful for our society, especially in this digital era? Thank you.
When I mentioned about, thank you so much, good question. When I mentioned about University of Stanford, they have since 8 years ago, so in 2 more years, they're going to change their system. Cross department, they'll be able to have few choice. As they understand, everyone needs to tailor-make their talent and their interests and their abilities. So students, don't wait for other people to tell you. You have to tell yourself, what is my strength? Am I belong to 30% or 70%? If I'm strong in 70%, should I learn something 30%? So in other words, knowing your strengths and weakness, and also know how to change. I would touch on a new subject with this topic. I hope this will help you. You know, some students, we always have students, I mentioned about self-healing. Today, a lot of students got so much pressure. Some even end up committed suicide, or they give up their lives. They give up their golden life. But always remember, you'll be able to change. You are responsible for your own future. So I tell students, say, sometimes if you don't have your parents' behaviors is not as much as you do. Sometimes parents fight against themselves. You probably got frustrated. Your husband and wife want to divorce. All kind of things happen in the modern society. But sometimes you can change them as well. I have one incident, a couple is fighting, and a student come back and say, Mr. Yen, after I listened to your student, my father and mother was fighting, and suddenly I just went and stand right in between them. I said, Father and Mother, I love you both. Do you want me to make a choice? Okay, could you not to fight against each other? Because I am here, I love you, and I cannot afford to leave either one of you. So suddenly the parents realize, oh, they feel ashamed. How can I let my children down so much? So in another word, you can make change also, even during that situation. Now, this is only a different occasions, okay? But for yourself, yes, always taking initiative to discover your talent and trying to convert it to your strengths. And also seeing more about outside world. I encourage you, in our high school, the grade 11, summertime they are required to have a job. They are required to go to whatever you think you want to be an artist, you want to be a architect, whatever, you go to learn. We even introduce them to different companies to learn for 2 months out of observation. Then you can decide, is that really what I want? You want to learn how to chef, go to the kitchen. You want to learn how to communicate, well, go to do the service. So only when you learn, in New England, no student graduate goes right into university. In England, there is called gap years. They give you 1 year to go and experience yourself before you decide to choose which university you want to go to, what subject you want to choose. In Israel, every student graduate, boys or girl from high school, first thing is go to military, because at the age of 18, you go to military. At the military, they serve 2 to 3 years, and usually military have many things to learn professionally. And then when they graduate, and when they finish the military compulsory service, they don't go to university. A lot of them spend 1 more year, go around the world and practice something before they go to university. So when they finish that, they are already age of 22, 23, before they go to university. But imagine when they have all these experience before they went into university, they are so much mature. They very much understand what they want to learn from the university. And they could ask a critical question to the professor as well, to challenge them about, this is not what I have learned outside. You taught something which is already behind. So this way, as a teacher, there are 2 ways to change the culture. First thing, taking any opportunity when students ask you questions, say, oh, it's a good question, but I don't understand also. I also don't understand. Do not expect yourself to know everything. You say, well, why don't I understand? Why don't we study together? Let's find out what is the true answer. Let's ask other people what is the true answer. So that's very important. The second message is take up an opportunity. If you made a mistake, go to student and say, student, yesterday I said something wrong, or I done something wrong. I didn't control my passion, please excuse me. Only in a company or in a country or in a school, if the leader or teacher willing to even commit, even I can making mistake and apologize to student, then student find out it is okay not to hide your mistake and be able to present it, not because afraid of punishment. More importantly, hopefully we don't make the same mistake twice. So this is a way to communicate. This is kind of skill, good for you and also good for the teacher, hopefully, and also good for the industry as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yen, for that answer. And I think we can take around 1 or 2 more questions. Is there still any more questions? There's one in the very back. Whichever one. There's one in the very back.
Hello, Mr. Stanley. Hello, Mr. Stanley. My name is William, and I'm from 10-8. Today, I would like to ask you about whether universities are important for our future, or should we take our time instead on exploring the world and find innovations and inspirations? Thank you.
Whether universities are really important or good for our future, or should we allocate our time elsewhere?
Actually, university is not for everyone, if you have confidence. Today, yes, the university diploma is a tool for you to knock the door to the company or getting a job to start. But if you learn through my classroom, I learn everything outside of the school. I even learn more. So each one are different. You can choose Minerva, but not everybody can choose Minerva, because Minerva require self-discipline. Minerva require you not only be able to study also be able to survive in different society and know different society from South America to Europe to Middle East to anywhere. So it is important that you have to know if you are suitable for that situation, or you get yourself ready before you do it. Otherwise, maybe you are following the mistake. So for some people, yes, go to university, and even go to the same university, choose the right subject that will help you to enhance yourself. And then if you really decide to say, no, I want to go out and learn something before I go to university, that is also okay. The important thing is you have to know what is your passion and what the future you can see for yourself, and go for it. Yeah. There's no just one suggestions. There are multiple choices. You could go to Khan Academy. I have friends in Harvard, professors. I have friends in Stanford. They're all my teachers. I have a friend is Apple's vice president. They're all my friends. They are my teacher. When I have a question, I go to them. This is why I keep my up to date. I can tell you some message you probably not hear before. It's because I am learning at the age of 76. 加油!
Thank you, Mr. Yen. And I think we have time for one last question. So to anybody who wants to ask. Okay, go ahead.
So, first of all, it's an honor. I want to ask. My name is Dion. I'm from 12 Science 2. So my question is, I'm actually interested.
Don't scale. Closer to my microphone. I can hear you better.
Okay, can you hear my voice clearly? Okay. I'm actually interested at your statement that our education model is outdated and obsolete. So, but in my opinion, in the reality, even though we have noticed about our education problem, maybe at least in the last 20 years, but in Indonesia, the reality is there's no change to our education. We're doing the same thing. In the last 50 years, we're doing the same thing. So, in your opinion, what did we do wrong about our education? If, like, our education minister had changed our curriculum many times, but there's still no success to the change about our education. So what do you think did we do wrong, and what is the solution? What can we do to fix it? That's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Looks like you can be a politician for future. Good question. The Miserable, the writer, he says this is the best of its time during the French Revolution. This is the worst of its time. I'm going to tell you this is the best of its time and this is the worst of its time. Yes, this is a problem not only in Indonesia. This has happened in Taiwan. This has happened in America. This has happened in China, everywhere. So this is an opportunity if you can manage to change. I understand your education minister is already trying to change. But instead of having entire structure change, the teacher need to be changed. The parents need to be changed. The student need to be changed. The society need to be changed. If the society is still saying the university degree is must, then that become a part. So this is why it takes a lot of time to get everybody changed. So education is not the responsibility from the school only. It is from the family. You know, there is a study. The first 1,000 days without your child's personality for the rest of his life. In other words, when infant was born inside of mother's tummy, your emotion already changed the kids. When you are nervous, she got nervous. When you are happy, she got happy too. So when when you give him birth, he couldn't hear, he couldn't move, and then he can hear a little bit, but he has absorbed a lot of information. Do not ignore him. Talk to him face by face. You know, your child, most of your child at the age of 3, not your child, no. You know, child at the age of 3, you can already speak. You didn't tell them how to speak in a basic word. They learned. So that 1,000 day is good design in the future. And also you know how important as a parents are. And as an educators, the early childhood education is so important. So really everything have to go back to basic. So go through that process takes a lot of time. But you can make change for yourself. You can make change for the surroundings and trying to do something different. And education is so available through internet, through classmates, through collaboration and discussions, and through asking questions back and forth with teachers. Let's improve together. Then we can make it better. Thank you.
And that marks the end of our Q&A session. We would like to thank Mr. Yen for answering all of the questions from our students in Pahoa Senior High School. Next, we would like to call Ibu Liliawati up on stage to show a token of our appreciation to Mr. Stanley Yen. Let's give a big round of applause. Thank you to Ibu Liliawati. And once again, we would also like to thank Mr. Stanley Yen as well as everyone who have taken the time out of their busy schedules to make today's event possible. For Mr. Stanley Yen and Ibu Liliawati, please kindly return to your seat. To formally end off today's event, we will have a quick prayer, and after that, we will have another quick picture session with everyone else.
我们再次感谢严董事长开阔了我们的眼界。接下来，请大家起立。我们有请伊曼老师上台带领我们祈祷。
Everyone can wave your hands and say hello to the camera. Good morning, Mr. Stanley Yen. Thank you so much for coming today to Pahoa Schools. And now I would like to ask you a few questions to end off today's event. In conclusion, do you have any messages for the younger generations of today?
Well, I must inform everyone in the future, the world have changed so much, and it's really beyond we can expect. And you don't know, every day there will be something new coming up, good or bad. So it is more important that you have to have ability to make judgment yourself. In order to reach that judgment, you have to really know more people, getting yourself more informed about the situation, what's happening. If you only study from one textbook, cannot give you the answer for everything. So trying to physically in touch with people, try to physically learn something with your hand, and physically experience the different environment that may come from you. Go to the poor village to see how they are living, and go to see other people who is successful. So all this will accumulate, make you become a good human beings for future. Yes.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Yen. And for the final question, since everyone has been delighted to hear your speech earlier inside, what would you say the main purpose of today's event is?
For me, Indonesia is so close and so far. I have my first visit is in between 1970s. So it's a long time, way before you were born. But last few years, because of the pandemic, because of many other reasons, I have not been I'm going old now. I decide to concentrate myself in a very remote location. I used to give speech a lot in Taiwan and even in America. But now I try to cut down because I know I'm fighting against time. But this time, through Ms. Lee, your director's invitation, and I thought it would be I heard so much good news about your school. So I thought what would be a great opportunity for me to be contact outstanding student from Indonesia. And I'm very happy with it. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Stanley Yen, for today. And I think that concludes today's interview. Thank you so much.
Okay, all the best to everyone.
Kalau menurut saya pribadi, Pak Stanley Yen itu orang yang hebat, punya banyak latar belakang, motivasi, pengalaman, dan kata-kata bijaksananya yang dapat menginspirasi kita semua.
Betul sekali dari Bapak Mr. Yen, aku belajar juga kalau semua itu butuh proses, dan dalam proses itu juga pasti ada challenge, ada passion juga di sana, dan baru nanti ke depannya kita pasti bisa mencapai apa yang kita inginkan.
Walaupun gitu, kita juga mesti ingat sama life skill kita, dan kita mesti ingat setiap hal itu ada passionnya, baik itu dalam kerja ataupun dalam hidup kita masing-masing.
Dan aku juga paling ingat sama tadi 4C ya Mr. Yen. Communication, collaboration, critical thinking, dan juga creativity.
Dalam acara seminar yang ditujukan bagi siswa-siswa SMA sebenarnya. Nah, berikut jajaran guru dan pengurus ya untuk berbagi pengalaman-pengalaman beliau dalam bidang pendidikan. Ya, bukan saja pendidikan tapi juga kita mendengar sendiri dari ceramah yang diberikan bahwa Profesor Yen ini sungguh menganjurkan suatu pendidikan yang disertai dengan soft skill dan life skill. Ya, jadi ini sesuatu yang sangat berharga bagi Sekolah Terpadu Pahoa. Terutama bagi siswa SMA yang akan segera masuk ke perguruan tinggi atau masuk ke masyarakat. Jadi berkebetulan juga ini dengan mulai mulai diluncurkannya kurikulum merdeka oleh Menteri kita Nadiem. Yang mulai kita berlakukan di Sekolah Terpadu Pahoa ini mulai tahun ini. Berangsur, bertingkat, gradual, sampai dengan tahun 2024. Ternyata kurikulum merdeka yang ditawarkan oleh Menteri, itu sungguh banyak kesamaannya dengan kemajuan pendidikan di luar negeri. Ya, sangat berkebetulan sekali ini. Semoga ini semua juga bisa mempercepat ya, kita punya implementasi dari kurikulum merdeka yang memang bagi kita ini adalah suatu revolusi dalam pendidikan. Saya kira cukup begitu.
Hari ini kita ada kesempatan untuk mengundang Pak Stanley Yen. Luar biasa ya, karena dia begitu lama pengalamannya di bidang perhotelan, kuliner, dan pendidikan. Nah, untuk sekolah kita, saya undang karena kita harap juga murid kita bisa ada wawasan yang baru bahwa zaman sekarang AI, tapi AI hanya dipakai untuk alat. Yang paling penting kita mesti ada sesuatu ikutin zaman, biarpun tadi kita dapetnya gitu ya, kalau kita udah ada yang gantiin kita dengan alat yang baru, kita mesti belajar yang lain. Jadi hidup terus, kita mesti belajar terus. Dia bilang kita sebelum kita sampai kita berhenti bernapas, kita harus tetap belajar. Ini yang saya dapat dari mereka. Dan juga saya harap dari sekolah kita juga guru-guru kita dan tentu kita pengurus juga membuka wawasan cara pendidikan gitu. Kita nggak terikat pada dulu lagi, cuman hanya hafal ya ujian saja. Kita mesti belajar critical thinking, ya. Emang sekolah kita udah jalanin juga. Dengan acara ini lebih diperkuatkan itu, lebih penting critical thinking dan kehidupan, life skill dan soft skill, ya.
Oke, hari ini kita kedatangan tamu yang sangat spesial, yaitu Mr. Stanley Yen. Sangat menginspirasi sekali untuk kami sebagai guru, kemudian sebagai siswa, di mana banyak ilmu baru yang kita peroleh, di mana di kurikulum Merdeka ini ternyata dari pernyataan Mr. Stanley ini sangat mendukung kami sebagai guru, terutama dalam berkolaborasi, kemudian kreatif, dan pastinya guru menjadi inovatif. Dan tentunya untuk siswa-siswi pastinya akan membuka wawasannya, di mana mereka juga menjadi anak-anak yang kritis dan pastinya kreatif. Terima kasih untuk Mr. Stanley, banyak ilmu yang kami peroleh dari beliau. Terima kasih, selamat siang.
Oke, ya terima kasih untuk kesempatan Pahoa mendapat satu kesempatan yang indah ya dengan datangnya Pak Stanley Yen ini gitu loh. Kenapa? Karena itu memberikan kepada, bukan hanya kepada saya pribadi, guru dan juga anak murid, itu membuka wawasan, inspirasi gitu loh. Bahwa ketika kita bekerja, melakukan sesuatu harus memiliki passion gitu loh. Dan untuk para guru juga harus belajar untuk melihat future dalam pendidikan, karena nggak mungkin pendidikan yang dulu itu masih tetap bisa terus dilakukan, harus mau berubah mindset. Dan untuk anak-anak SMA harus tahu future mau kemana, kedepannya mau kemana. Dan terima kasih buat Pahoa, Ibu Liliawati dan Pak Stanley Yen yang sudah memberikan begitu banyak masukan. Terima kasih.